Hey everyone, welcome back to Firsthand Globetrotting. I'm back with part 6 of my trip to Costa Rica. This is my 7th and final day here. It's sad that my trip is coming so close to its end, but I still want to pack in as much fun as I can into the time I have left. Start to finish, this trip has been incredible. I had really high hopes for it and it completely delivered. In case you missed it, I spent the first few days of my trip in La Fortuna, and now I'm in Monteverde. I got to hike to a volcano, swim at the base of a waterfall, see animals hiding in the jungle at night, swim in a natural hot spring, take a boat ride between cities, and so much more. If you missed any of my other videos, I'll put links to them down below. To start my last morning here, I got myself a nice plate of fruit and looked out over the amazing view I had of the mountains of Monteverde. And before I leave, I couldn't say no to one last plate of gallo pinto since it's been my go-to Costa Rican breakfast food. I think this was the first time I got it with sausage on the side. I have one last bit of excitement to experience before I leave. I'm headed to the Selvatura Adventure Park to do some ziplining. Ziplining through a cloud forest is popular, so there was a pretty big line to sign up, get fitted for gear, and get ready for all the action. Once you're ready, they drive you from the reception area in a van, taking you higher into the mountains to the start of the zipline course. The van can only take you so far though, and you have to do a little bit of a hike through the cloud forest until you can start ziplining. Oh yeah, in case I forgot to tell you, this isn't just normal everyday ziplining. This is ziplining through a Costa Rican cloud forest. The anticipation really starts to build as you walk up the path through the jungle. A couple of times I had to stop and take a minute to appreciate everything around me. Who knows when I'll be back in a cloud forest, so I wanted to enjoy it. Eventually, we got to a little seating area in the middle of the jungle. Here, they gave us some last-minute safety information and instructions before we started our adventure, making sure we were ready to go. I think the only time I ever had to wait in line was for the first zip line. Everyone climbs the staircase up, gets clipped onto the line, and then gets ready to start flying through the jungle. As I was getting clipped in, I couldn't help but admire the amazing views I got of the jungle below me, knowing I was about to fly through it. Looking ahead, it seems like there's only a circle of space cut into the vegetation in front of you. But as I flew through the air and past the opening, I could really see how high up I was with all of the huge trees down below me. It wasn't just a single zip line here, it was zip line after zip line after zip line. Almost as soon as you finish one, you're clipped into another. Just look at this view. You can really see the clouds as you fly over to the next platform. Just look how quick the transition is from the zip line I just finished to the next one I'm about to start. It's really as simple as the guides unclipping you from one line, clipping you to another, and then walking around the small aerial platform to the next takeoff point. You barely even have time to look around before you're flying over a different area of the jungle, getting a bird's eye view of everything down below. I loved that it was just non-stop action. They have zip lines of all different lengths too. Like the one I'm on now was so long that I was in the air for nearly a minute and a half going between the two platforms. At first, I was passing by all of the trees as I got out of the forested area, with the big metal platform slowly disappearing from my view as I went. You don't realize when you take off how high in the air you're going to be. By the midway point, I was completely above all of the huge trees in the cloud forest down below. It's such an interesting view having the jungle down below you with the clouds at eye level. It's pretty much the perfect place to go ziplining. Eventually, I couldn't even see where I took off from, It was just a wall of trees with no platforms in sight. The shorter zip lines near the start were still fun, but there's something about spending over a minute in the air that makes this one even better. And just like how I escaped the jungle at the start of the zip line, eventually I re-entered the jungle and got surrounded by all of the trees again. Most of the different zip lines were directly connected by platforms, but there were a few where you had to take a small walk through the jungle to get to the next one. It was a nice mix of lengths though, because almost right after the long one, I was back on one of the shortest lines on the course. But the short one was mostly just to get you out to a different platform so you could do another long zip line. This one was really great because I wasn't just looking at the clouds off in the distance, I actually got to fly through them this time. They recommend you wear your rain jacket on the course, and I can see why. As I went through the clouds, I could feel the drops of rain falling down on me. I'm so happy I came here. This was pretty much the perfect activity to finish off my time in Monteverde. I've gone ziplining before, but there's something about the location here that makes it unlike anything I've done before. No matter how nice other ziplines might be, you just can't match the experience of getting to do it over and through a cloud forest, where you actually fly through the clouds on part of the course. I think there were around 13 total zip lines that you get to do, and it was pretty much non-stop with almost no waiting around between each cable. I wasn't really keeping track, but I think I was ziplining for around an hour and a half, plus all of the time it took to get set up. Without a doubt, I'd do this again. It was so much fun and such a unique experience that I'll never forget. But if the zip lines weren't enough for you, there's one other fun thing that you get to do when you're there, the Tarzan swing. For this one, you climb to the top of a tall platform, get clipped in, and then step off the ledge and start falling towards the ground. The rope you're on is just long enough to keep you from hitting the ground, so you end up swinging out just like a monkey on a vine. It's kind of like a zip line mixed with a bungee jump. In case the zip lines were getting a little too normal for you, this is a nice way to get your heart racing again. After I got out of all my ziplining gear and headed back to Santa Elena, I had just enough time to get myself one last plate of casado before I left. This has definitely been one of my favorites. Sadly, after I finished my lunch, it was time to say goodbye to Monteverde and head back to the airport to go home. The road out of town was really nice. Just look at this beautiful winding mountain road. I love how the clouds are just sitting there at eye level. No matter where I am in Monteverde, the clouds always remind me how high up I am. Just like my ride from the airport to La Fortuna, I used Arenal rides for my drive back to the airport in San Jose. It was another great ride with them. I just had to sit back, relax, and look at the scenery out the window. As we were driving, there was one particularly beautiful scenic outlook that we saw that I just had to stop at. I'm glad I did, since I got one last gorgeous view of the Monteverde Mountains. In typical Costa Rican fashion, it started to downpour partway through the drive. I'm really glad I didn't have to drive, since the roads were narrow and winding enough without having to worry about all the rain. In some places, the road was nearly washed out from all the rain, making traffic really slow as we went. Now that I've been here, I completely understand why everyone says that a drive in Costa Rica that looks short can end up taking you hours and hours. Just look at the traffic going in the other direction. There was a fallen tree blocking the road that caused a huge delay. We even ended up driving along the coastline on our way back. After all of the time I've spent in the jungle and mountains, I really wasn't expecting to see the ocean on my drive to the airport. As I sat in the van, I couldn't help but think back on the amazing trip I've had and all of the great things I got to see and experience. I haven't even left yet, and I'm already thinking about coming back to Costa Rica so I can see more of this amazing country. For every meal today, I've been having my Costa Rican favorites. So before I got to the airport, I had one last plate of arroz con pollo for dinner. It's just so good. I delayed as long as I could, but eventually I had to head to the airport for my flight home. I definitely wish I could have stayed longer, but every vacation has to come to an end sometime. As soon as I got through security, there was a giant animatronic sloth named Antonio waiting for me, guarding a big basket full of stuffed animals. Costa Rica definitely knows how to cater to tourists. San Jose Airport isn't huge, but they have a really big shopping area in case you need to pick up any last-minute souvenirs. I never really buy souvenirs in airports, but I always like having places to wander around and browse while I'm waiting for my flight. It felt a lot like a mall, with all of the stores in one area, and then a separate food court with a bunch of different cafes, fast food restaurants, and a seating area. Personally, I really like the design of the airport, quite a bit more lively than most of the other airports that I've been to that are a similar size. The gates were laid out in one long line, so it was really easy to navigate, and since it's a smaller airport, you're never more than a few minutes walk from any gate. But before I knew it, I was in my seat, looking out over the hills surrounding San Jose and waving goodbye to Costa Rica. Start to finish, this was an amazing trip. My expectations were so high for Costa Rica, and not only did it meet them, it exceeded them. This country has so much natural beauty, there are so many amazing animals around every corner, the people are so nice, it was just the complete package. I'd definitely come back to La Fortuna and Monteverde again. They were fantastic places to visit, but I'd also love to see more of the country. Hopefully I get a chance to come back and see some more. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed following along with my trip. If you missed any of the other parts of this trip, I'll put links to those videos down below. If you have any questions about anything I've done so far, ask me in the comments. And while you're at it, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. If you want to see what I'm up to now, I'm Firsthand Globetrotting on Instagram, follow me on there. And don't forget, it's an incredible world out there, so pick up your passport and do some first-hand globetrotting of your own.